Hey guys, so today we're going to go over a MPPT or a max PowerPoint tracking example for my REE 413 class. This is the spring 2018 and I am Mariah Wills. So just like everyone else in the class, we were tasked with going to the MATLAB website and picking out a renewable energy example, either a wind or a PV example, and so I picked a rather simplistic one. Today we are looking at a single phase transformerless grid connected PV array. As you can see here, hopefully you can see my pen drawing on here. So here we're mostly going to be looking at this part of the thing, less of the design, less of everything else past this part. So I had to open it up in MATLAB. So I hit the button on the website that took me here, and it gave me this code. And if you wanted to check it out yourself, you could literally just copy this into MATLAB, and it should open it for you. Push enter, and it will open it up in your screen. Ta-da! So what are we seeing here? We first are seeing this is the PV array as it tells us right here. So we're going to be getting inputs from that. And then you look up here, see, so it's measuring the PV, and then it's going to bring it right up to here. And so this is the block that we're really going to be taking a peek at. It's this blue inverter controller block. And as you can even see, you're getting these measurements in from the PV array, and they're going straight into it. And so you're going to be observing what's happening to the voltage and the current from the PV array. And it looks like it's going to be comparing it to a DC voltage. So let's take a peek behind the mask of this guy and see what we're looking at. So again, this is the specific piece of the puzzle that we are looking at today, because under the inverter, it's even telling us right here, max PowerPoint tracking. That's where we want to be. So we look under that again, it even tells us, look, you're looking at max PowerPoint parameters right here in the upper top corner. And it's even telling us right here that we have, it tells us what kind of max PowerPoint tracking it's using. And here specifically, it's using a perturb and observe technique, which is rather common for PV arrays. So what does that mean? That means that we're going to be poking the system in some way, shape, or form, and then seeing what happens. And based on what changes in the system, it tells us whether the voltage or current or duty cycle needs to go up or down, or it's fine the way it is in order for us to maintain that maximum power point. So we're going to look even a little bit farther into this guy. So how are we going to prove that this is doing what it's saying it's doing? How, it could say max PowerPoint tracking, perturb and observe, but how do we really know? So we opened up the script up here in MATLAB, and here it is again telling us what it is. Perturb and observe algorithms. And it's really telling us here that it's going to be looking at this D variable a lot, and that D is really, it's going to be the voltage. So in this example, it's going to be poking the voltage and seeing what happens, what's going on. And so here it's just setting up its parameters, just telling you what everything represents. But it really gets good on this next, when you scroll down a little bit on the screen, and you're it's talking about power, because that's really what you're doing, right? You're finding max PowerPoint tracking. So you're either changing some parameter that's affecting that power. And when you really get down to this part right here, this is where it's looking at what's happening to the voltage, right? So it's asking, if the change in voltage is greater than or less than 0, then you're either going to add or subtract something. And then same for a different scenario, you are going to add or subtract some change in voltage. This delta D is not duty cycle, it's voltage. It was defined up above. So this is exactly what we see in a perturb and observe example, right? We're going to poke the system. In this case, we're poking the voltage, and we're seeing what happens, what's going on, and do we need to add a little bit of more voltage, or we need to boost it, or bring it down a little bit in order to get the max power that we can out of the system. And sometimes you don't need to add any or subtract any voltage. So it has a script right here that tells you, if all this doesn't work, if this doesn't work, then come right down here. Your voltage is going to be the same as your old voltage. And yeah, that was pretty self-explanatory. It's a very simple technique, and it's very common for a lot of PV arrays. So yeah, I think that was pretty good. Thank you.